Firearms Hotline. Talk to my guy, Jordan Pugh, here on the program. Jordan, good morning, buddy.
What's going on? Hey, man, you got a new set back there?
What do you think? Pretty good.
Hey, man, it looks good. I like it, man.
When are you going to come to town?
Looks good. Hey, man, you know what? I was talking to my wife yesterday at dinner. I said, you know what, man, I got to get back down to College Station. My daughter's soccer games are now during the week, so now I have an excuse now to get down there. So I'm coming down there, man. I'm going to be in the studio. Don't worry. It's going to happen this season.
Remind me, what club does your daughter play for?
She played with the Dallas Renegades.
Okay, all right.
Yep. She's a big. She loves the goalie position. So now we get into that whole little spot, man. So trying to get her ready, man. I got to get her footwork right. You know, she is a Pugh after all. You know what I mean? So we got to get her going.
Hey, so speaking of new studios, we got a new one. But I'm sorry, I think you've added some production value in your studio. I see a red light in the background.
Yeah, man. I got to give my wife the credit again. She said everything that you do looks tacky. So I have to, dress it up a little bit. So she put all the little decorations back there. So I'm just here, man. I got to give credit as credit's due, right? I'm glad that you noticed it so I can tell her that it looks good. You know what I mean? And go from there, but appreciate that.
Hey, no, it looks great. So I know you well, and I know that you are going to be very opinionated. When it's good, when it's bad. Yep. And during the prior regime, you complained a lot, which, by the way, you were right. But I feel heading into this Notre Dame game, you're on the optimistic train. Am I right?
Yes. One, it was a quiet offseason. So what that tells me is there was a lot of work being done, a lot of work in silence. Two, you just like the direction of where the program is going. With what Elko is doing, I think he demands a lot. He has a standard, which every coach does, but I think he has a standard that holds people accountable. And you can hear that with what the players are saying, man. You hear the interviews, you listen to the SEC media days, you hear them in the post-practice interviews. It's a different tone to the team. It's a different approach to the team. I think there's a certain toughness to the team, and I like that. Like I said last time we were on, man, it's never been an issue of talent. It's just been an issue of putting it together, taking all the ingredients, man, and making the right meal. And I think that we have that. I think it can show early or it can show late, but I think you're going to see the makings of what Elko's been brewing, man, this whole offseason. I'm excited for this weekend. I think it's going to be big time. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people, man.
Yeah, I hope we surprise a lot of people. So you played safety at the highest level. Bryce Anderson is now moving back to his natural position of safety. I know you like his game. So what kind of season can we maybe expect from Bryce?
Well, you're looking at leadership. So when you break down the safety position, you have to have a guy who is vocal, right? When you look at the defense, man, the safety sees all, right? From the front to the backers to the secondary. So being able to vocalize fronts, adjustments, and whatnot. The other thing is you look for range. Can he play sideline to sideline? Can he get out of the middle of the field? Can he get off the hash and get to the sideline when the ball is in the air? So he has great range. But most importantly, can he play in space? So you're looking at what he can do in the space game as far as coming downhill and making tackles. When you're looking at one-on-one opportunities and situations against slot receivers, tight ends, can he man his own? You're looking at a guy who has the skill set to be a dominant safety in the league. He has, size, speed, all that stuff. But as far as the mental side, the awareness of the game, he possesses it all, man. So I think this move to safety is his natural position, but you'll see him elevate and execute at a high level because that's where he belongs.
And what about the rest of the secondary, too? Because last year was rough, man. Bryce was playing at a position he played very well at, but it wasn't his natural position, right? Now you've brought in Will Lee and others, and you've got Dalton Brooks growing. You have so many different options. You've got Ricks, who's looking fantastic in camp, and he's a 5-star. So just overall, the secondary.
Well, overall, the secondary is I don't know a lot about the secondary, which is a good and a bad thing. Right now, practice is one thing. I mean, I'm glad everybody looks good, but everybody in practice, man. You have spring, you have summer, you build a relationship. What does it look like when the bullets are flying? What does it look like when college game day rolls into town? You got 100,000 plus night game, all that. The biggest concern that I have about the team is the secondary, in particular the corner position. All right, so where are we going to be at that position? As far as the front, with our D-line, our linebacker position, I'm not overly concerned about that. I think we have one of the best D-lines, if not the best D-line in the country. So that will help the secondary. But can we hold up against elite talent? That's what we don't know yet. I think that we brought in good transfers. I think that we brought in pieces, man, that can play. But will they be a cohesive unit Will they be able to handle the big time atmosphere? Will we be able to go up against elite talent, man, to be able to hold our own? That's the biggest question that I have. I believe we can. I believe we will do it. But until it's on the field, I don't know what that is. And I'm talking specifically about the corner position. That's the one that kind of concerns me a little bit.
But Jordan, it's got to be better than last year, right? Like, just even micro levels, right? Marginally better.
Yes.
Like, it's got to be. They've got different players. They got health, and they have the young players who were thrust into action last year have experience now, and they're not expected to be the starters.
Well, here's why it's going to be better than last year's, because we have Elko at the head coach position, i.e., I don't want to call him the de facto defensive coordinator, but that's what he is. So you're taking his schemes and elements. But also you have the Elko factor, plus you have our D-line. You're looking at Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, you got Hicks coming off the edge, man. You have all those guys who can create pressure and cause chaos within the pocket. I think it's not that I think. I know that the D-line is the secondary's best friend all day long. If you can get pressure and you can force that quarterback out of the pocket, force him to make rush throws, that helps the secondary. So, yes, I believe we will be better. But remember, our standard is championships. Our standard is SEC titles, playoff run, national title. Now, if we're looking to that, we have to be able to have elite guys on the outside. The only way that we're going to know if we're elite is, man, we have to feel that pressure. We don't know what that looks like yet, because as a unit, we haven't done it. When you're looking at new pieces in the secondary, the number one thing and the number one cause for concern is communication. If we don't have the communication in order, man, you see a lot of blown coverages, a lot of missed assignments, man. That's why offenses do a lot of motion to be able to have confusion within that group. That's why I like Bryce back there again. That's why I like him with his season play, his understanding of the game. I think he can be the glue to what we need in the secondary. Let's
go back to Coach Elko, because you have a lot of faith in him. It reminds me of this movie in the 90s. I don't know if you saw Boiler Room. It's a stocks movie. And Ben Affleck is telling the bunch of young people, act as if you are the freaking CEO. Act as if.
Yes.
In football, that is a mindset that I think not enough programs and players do. Act as if you're Georgia. You can have those same aspirations. You can have those same kind of tendencies. Programs that do things the way Tom Brady does it, the way LeBron does it, the way Michael did it, there's a reason championship-level people who do it on the consistent basis are what they are. Yes, they have the talent, but they act as if, and they are.
Well, yeah, look, you get into the game, you play the game to win, all right? And then at the end of the year, they give a team a trophy for being the best one. You want to be known as the best. In order to be known as the best, you have to act and handle your business as if you are. So, yes, I completely agree with you. And that's what I like about Elko. Listening to him talk, listening to his press conferences, there's a certain air and aura to him, but it's an air of confidence. But it's an air of confidence where the work has been done. The work has been completed. That's the air that I get from him. Hey, man, we're not here to do all the talking. That's cool. Once the work is done, man, we'll let our talk play on the field. And I think that's what you're getting out of him. When you looked at the Duke teams play, they were tough, physical football teams. And you knew every time that you played Duke the past 2 seasons, you knew you were going to be in a dogfight. You knew you were going to be in a boxing match, UFC fight, whatever you want to call that. So looking at what we have, you take what he did at Duke, you take the mentality that he had over there, you bring it over here and transfer it to A&M with the talent level that we have. I think we had a lot of addition by subtraction with the guys leaving. Everybody gets so caught up in that nonsense. I think it was a lot of addition by subtraction. And you take the level of talent and that's increases from Duke. I think that you have a well-oiled machine. Now it's about putting it all together. Now it's about the cohesiveness. It's about the chemistry. And I think that he's the right guy to do that.
Jordan, I feel like we're playing the hits here because I'm going to keep going to topics that I know you like to talk about. All right? Because there have been times on this show that I brought things up that you get disappointed in the conversation because of how angry you were about what was happening across the street. Here's one that I know for 3 years you like talking about. Connor friggin' Weigman.
Yes. Well, look, if he's healthy, we're a problem in the SEC. If he's healthy, we give everybody issues. You already know what my belief is. I think he's one of the best guys in the nation. And he was on track to do that last year. He had one of the highest QBRs last year before he got hurt. You saw the poise that he played with. You saw how he's been able to play off brand, off script. I think that you need all of that. Now, you take what we're doing with Klein coming in at the OC, mixing in a lot more motions, a lot more movements on offense, a lot more unpredictability. I think that opens up the floodgates. You look at what we have. I know that Ruben Owens went down, but you look at Le'Veon Moss. You're looking at Daniels. You look at what we have on the outside with Noah Thomas, Ja'Day Walker, Moose, which I hope to God they play Moose, because Moose is a baller at that receiver position. But when you look at the weapons that we have, you look at what we have at quarterback, man, a guy who can man the helmet, a guy who can control the offense, who can create plays. Man, I'm excited to see him go. I think that this could be a big standout year for him. And I think that he has a confidence level now, knowing that he had those games under his belt, knowing what he was doing last year. You just have the injuries that derailed him. I think this could be a big breakout year for him.
Jordan, let's go back to the D-line that you are smitten about. Shamar Turner, 6'6", 290. I'm reading this from Beaglow on the YouTube chat. Shamar Stewart, 6'4", 300. DJ Hicks, 6'5", 300. Nick Scorton, 6'4", 290.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got the level of talent that they have. Look at your face, man. You're excited for me talking about it. And what we've seen them do and what we expect them to do. Now, I want you to think about Notre Dame's situation. They have a very young offensive line. They might be elite. Those guys could be NFL first, second, third round picks. But I do want to talk about, like, when you have that many new players on the line, how experience does play a factor, especially throughout a full game.
So from Notre Dame's perspective, from what I've heard they've had a couple guys go down. Am I correct? Like a left tackle maybe or something like that. Look, I just think here's what I think. I think that I hate the word potential. Potential drives me nuts. I can't stand that word. But I'm just going to use it for lack of a better word in this moment. I think that Notre Dame is potentially walking into a buzzsaw when it comes to O versus D-line play. When you look at our defensive line, our starting four in particular, I think they are absolutely phenomenal. So it's one thing to have the size. All right, so we have the size 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" above. We got the weight, but they're explosive. You can't they handle double teams very well. We have guys who can create chaos and fold pockets coming off the edge, man. I just don't think that they're ready for that. Then you take that, you add the atmosphere that Notre Dame is walking into. Not only that, they're coming from Indiana to Texas. It's going to be 227 degrees on the football field. I think that all of those factors, they play a role in the outcome of this game. I just love what our D-line is. I think that we're not getting enough praise, which I kind of like, because we've had all the praise we can get in the offseason. But, man, I think when they are on full display this weekend, I think you're going to see one of the best D-lines in the country. I just think they possess everything that you need. They're explosive. They're chaotic, man. They play with violence. And I'm really excited to see what they do.
Jordan, I want to go back to the weather thing, because that was a topic at the top of the show. This week in South Bend, it's been in the mid-90s to 100, okay? And the humidity has been higher than usual. Game night is going to be 86 degrees if you believe Google and AccuWeather. But the humidity will be higher, 76 to 80%. I'm laying out all these weather things for you because you've played in those environments and you've gotten used to environments. It's, to me, and I could be wrong here, it's one thing to train in it for a few days, right? There's another thing to live in it. And, like, this is how you always train. So even though it's not going to be as hot as we expected, will it play a factor late in the game potentially?
Yes, it will play a factor. One, the humidity alone will play a factor. Listen, like, I remember when we played New Mexico, okay? Now, I know that everybody's expecting Colorado. I remember when we played New Mexico. I never will forget, we went out there, and we're going through pregame warm-ups, and I swear there was a gorilla sitting on my chest, man. I have never breathed that hard in my life, right? And you go out there, you try to get acclimated to it, but, man, you're there for a period of time, and your body, it takes a while to adjust. It's the same thing for the heat. When you're talking about the altitude coming from where they're coming from down south, man, where the heat is, where the humidity is, I'm telling you, man, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment like no other. And when you live in that, when you train in that, when that's your everyday life, it hits a little bit different. And then you're taking on top of that adrenaline. The adrenaline is going to be pumping. So that depletes you as the game goes on as well. I think that, they can call it 90, but we both know that 90 in Indiana is a whole lot different than 90 in South Texas, right, with the humidity. So I think that's going to play a big factor in the game. And I'm not sure how Notre Dame is going to handle that. I don't think there's a way to prepare for that. You can do what you want. You can hydrate as best you can. But when you're in that atmosphere, when that adrenaline is pumping, when you're full go, it plays a role, a big role.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on the Boss Firearms Hotline. It is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Wallow Insurance Studio. So let's talk a little bit more matchups, because one thing that we know about Notre Dame, their defense is going to be salty, right? Connor has been so good at limiting turnovers. 16-2 is his touchdown to interception ratio as a starting quarterback. But Notre Dame has, if not the top cornerback in college football, one of the top cornerbacks in college football who stopped Marvin Harrison Jr. Like he controlled that game, right? They also have Xavier Watts, who's one of the best out there, led the nation in interceptions. So considering how good Notre Dame is on defense and the question marks we have offensively about A&M, because we have to have questions until we see this new offense and offensive line and wide receivers. Like, just give me some thoughts about that matchup in particular.
I think it's all about quarterback play. Look, our O-line is going to be improved. We know that we had some issues last year on the O-line, but I think they'll be improved. I just think it's about the quarterback play. Look, as far as weapons are concerned, Notre Dame's defense is good. It's very good. It's very talented. But I think we have more weapons at our disposal than they have weapons on their defense. That's the first thing. But it comes down to what Connor does within the pocket and within the game and creating plays when they break down. I think that's going to be a big-time difference. He's way more athletic than what people give him credit for. He can run. And then I think with a lot of the movements that they're putting in on offense, a lot of the play actions, a lot of the boots, a lot of the waggles that really play to his game, I think that opens up more in the playbook. So I love the matchup between, really their secondary and what we have offensively at the weapons at the receiver position. But overall, when you look at our backs, you look at our tight ends, you look at Connor. Connor is the glue, and I think he's the difference maker that allows us to be efficient on offense.
Jordan, last thing for you. Another topic that I know you love. I'm just going to say a person's name. Maybe I'll say their position or what they do, and then I want you to respond. Ready?
All right, let's do it.
Tommy Moffitt, strength and conditioning coach. Go.
The number one person in the program. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. The strength coach is the most important hire that you can make in a football program, because they instill the mentality, the intensity, the toughness, the grit, whatever other adjective you want to use. You will see that on display on the field on Saturday. And I think having him in there, and you even hear the players talk about it. The players talk about how different it is. Man, the mentality for us is what's going to be key, is what I'm interested in. The mentality for A&M is the case study for me this season. It has never, ever been about ability and talent for us. It's always been about, can we finish? Are we tough enough? And can we put all the pieces together? And I think having him changes the game for us a lot.
Jordan, I appreciate you, man. Hope to see you soon.
All right, let's do it.
Jordan Pugh there on the Boss Firearms Hotline. We'll hit a break. We're going to come back.